Eyup, other day we went through first 5 championship game weeks, put his predictions in for them all and saw what the table looked like after 5 games. We had Swansea top and I believe a bottom 3 of Preston, Sheffield Wednesday and Middlesbrough. We're now going to do the exact same thing for League 1. I'm genuinely not going to be biased here. I'm a Barnsley fan. No bias, swear on my life. Right, let's get in there. First one, Luton Wimbledon. Same as Championship. If a newly promoted side is going to play one that's got relegated, they're always going to chuck it on. Luton are going to be one of the very, very strong sides in this division. And I can see Wimbledon struggling quite a bit. They've lost a lot of the players that got them promoted in first place. It's giving Crawley for the most part. I think Luton should, honestly, I can't click on the... Oi, let me click on it. What? Oh, there we go. What the hell was going on there? I forgot what I was saying now. Yeah, Luton should win majority of games at home anyway, really. They did last time they got promoted out of this league. And against Wimbledon at home, there's not many that are easier. I want to thought. I think Luton will get off to a fairly comfortable start. They're not going to blow them away, but I think Luton 2, Wimbledon 0 first game. Cardiff at home to Peterborough, 8th 1. It's a lot of experience that Cardiff have got versus a very young core that Peterborough have had seemingly forever now, after losing a lot of the best players for a side that were already crap last year anyway. Peterborough made some half-decent signings coming into it at this stage of the season anyway, which is very, very early. But I still think they'll struggle big time. And Cardiff, I don't think are even like a cert for top 6. If I'm being completely honest, I think Plymouth and Luton are both in a better position than them, plus some other sides that's already in here. But they should win that, again, like 3-1. I think Peterborough are good for a goal most weeks, but I still think they'll lose. Blackpool Stevenage. Blackpool have made some good signings early doors. So have Stevenage, to be fair. For Stevenage to be chucking 200 grand at a striker is wild. They've got some really good players coming in, Stevenage have, honestly. I think they bet Reading to Kem Campbell as well, which is wild. That Stevenage could beat Reading to a player. Defensively, Stevenage are good. It's definitely going to be a low score of that one. But I like that Blackpool have made Nyland is permanent as well as some of the defensive signings that they've made. I'll go 1-1. I think Stevenage could get something there. Bradford at home to Wickham. Wickham are definitely going to slide that table a little bit compared to last season. I don't think they'll get top 6. But they'll definitely be above Bradford at table. I just think Bradford coming up, first game, it's going to be full in it. They're going to be up for it big time. I do think I could see Bradford winning that. Maybe 2-1 first game, just for the crowd aspect. Burton at home to Mansfield, 1-0. I quite like Burton, me. Back end of last season, they were good. I think they could propel themselves up a bit. I think they'll be fairly comfortably safe, Burton, this year. Donny at home to Exeter. Almost same reason as Bradford here. I do think Donny and Exeter will be closer together in terms of league position by end than Bradford and Wickham will in terms of distance. But I could see Donny winning that. I'll go 2-1 again. Huddersfield Leyton Orient. I feel like Huddersfield almost need to get off to a fast start. Because they're one of my favourites anyway. I'm not saying regardless of whatever the start actually is that'll change. But I feel like if they lose first couple of games or they're not like picking wins up immediately, crowd will get on them. Lucky for them, I think they will win first couple of games. Leyton Orient are going to be much worse than they were last season. Another one that's going to slide down the table quite a lot with players that they've lost. Galbraith might go from Leyton Orient to Huddersfield. Who knows? I just think Huddersfield should slap them up a little bit. Early doers. Huddersfield 3, Leyton Orient 1. Lincoln and Reading. Well, Reading have just took Lincoln's best player or one of them. I'll go. You know what? I quite fancy Reading for next year. I think they could be an underdog, but I'll go 0-0 there. Plymouth Barnsley. 5-0 Reds. No, you couldn't have asked for much in how to start, really, could you? One of the best sides that you're going to get in this division away from home. It is longest trip a year out away. Nice and early, though. And I do think Barnsley will get better as they go on. I think we could have a fairly slow start, but as it goes on, I think we'll get better because we've got a lot of young kids coming through here now, and his owner's a tight bastard. I do think we'll get better, like I said, and I do think we'll be up and around it in May next year. I seriously do. But I think Plymouth will probably beat us here 2-1. I think it'll be a fairly close game. It seems to be a lot of time down there. But yeah, I think Plymouth could do us first game. Rotherham at home to Port Vale. God, am I going to go for a full clean sweep? Oh no, obviously not, because I've got Wimbledon away at Luton. I prefer Darren Moore to Rotherham's manager. The general core of Port Vale squad, I honest to God think is better than that of Rotherham's. Port Vale have got a decent budget as well, by it sounds. I think they win that 1-0 Port Vale. Wigan at home to Northampton. God, 2-1 Wigan marginal. And then Stockport Bolton. That's quite a good game as well. Little local derby. But for Bolton only to get 800 away tickets on your first game, that is tough. That is tough. Oof, I don't actually know what I'd think there. Stockport could maybe losing a Laffy as well. I saw some championship sides going for him. But Stockport are very, what's the word? They're very organised, very mature side, really, to say they've only just come up into this division. They look very level-headed across pitch. Bolton, I think, are going to be, again, a side that's going to be much better this year than they were last. But first game, I could honestly see Stockport winning that against Bolton. I'll go 2-1. And same as the championship video, Obviously, I've calculated it now, so this is what the table looks like after the first game with the wins, as you could obviously see just from the fixtures themselves. But I'm not going to show it until we've got to the 5th game. And I've only had a glimpse through, because I've been ill the last couple of days, haven't I? So I've only had a glimpse through. I know what Barnes' fixtures are, obviously. But in general, I don't really know what the difficulty is for some of these sides. Like, Wimbledon, Lincoln next game. I don't know why it says they're all 4 o'clock kickoffs, by the way. Like, not got a clue what's going on there. Wimbledon at home to Lincoln, though, I think is a fairly decent chance to get some points on board early doors, which a relegation-threatened side, one that's going to be in the battle all year, does need. You don't want to get left behind too early. I think they'll get a point there, 1 apiece with Lincoln. Barnsley at home to Burton, we should win. Like, typically, Barnsley, as fan base, is actually quite good, I think, for where we are in country, in between Wednesday and Leeds, and being a town and as shitter a squad as we've got. But normally, if we're crap first game, we set tone with his fan base for first game. So if we lose to Burton, honestly, crowd will be like 11k for the rest of the year. But I do think we'll win that, surely. And I'm not going to play stupid, right? I said we'd lose against Plymouth first game, but come on. I do fancy us at home this season more than I did last. It's going to be exciting stuff. It's what crowd want to see, really, as well. Because we're just going to go, 9 men running at someone's net 24/7. 2 centre-halves just stood there picking rest up. Even keepers running off, apparently. Urian's a very inexperienced but new manager, but he's done a lot of coaching before. And obviously, we're back in the season. We were very good going for it. I do think that will be the same thing, but we're definitely going to concede probably every single game. I will go 3-1 to the Reds. Bolton at home to Plymouth. God, not an easy start for Bolton. Oh, Plymouth, really. Bolton at home are actually quite good, though. They are quite good. They were last season, despite having a shite year. I actually quite fancy them there. Plymouth, it's a long way to come on your first away game, and against a decent side as well, which is what Bolton are. Regardless of what you think, they are a good side. I think they could struggle there, Plymouth. It's not going to be a walking park for them. They've lost a lot of the good players, Plymouth. I just think with the fact that them being at home first game is what's going to help them win. The first away, I think they could struggle. Exeter at home to Blackpool. Again, I could see another low scorer there with Blackpool and Exeter. Oh, I'll go with another 1-1, you know. I think I'll give them both that for the first game. Orient at home to Wigan. 2-1. Leighton Orient. Mansfield, Donny. God, that's a rotten game, that, innit? Jesus Christ. I don't know what to say for that one. That's a very tough one to call, just looking at it on surface. A lot, to be fair, next one is as well, Northampton, Bradford. I quite fancy Donny there. I'll give Donny a win there, and Northampton a win there. Home to Bradford 2-0. Peterborough home to Luton. Again, I think Peterborough score more or less every game. I think they could get like 2 here. I think they'll be quite excited first game. But I do see Luton get a point. I'll go 2 apiece. Port Vale at home to Cardiff. God, that'd be tasty. I don't want to be a copper at that game. I will go 1-1. Port Vale and Cardiff. Reading Huddersfield. Oh, God. 1-1 again. Very hard games. Stevenage Rotherham. I honestly back Stevenage for a win there. I'll go 1-0 Stevenage. And then Wickham at home to Stockport. Oh, God. That's a toughie now. I do quite fancy Wickham at home. I think, honestly, in games that I'm struggling with, I do just naturally side with home team unless I've got a certain reason for another one, as everybody does, really. But I'll go Wickham 2, Stockport 1 for that. So we'll calculate that. It's on table below, but we can't see it yet, and then we'll go to the next one. Barnsley and Bolton, we're back. We're so back. Didn't get each other at playoffs, so first couple of games, here we go. We're back, lads. I mean, we absolutely dicked them down when they come to our place last time near end of season. It was one of Urian's bigger wins. I think we bet them 4-1, I believe. We bet them 4-1 and Reading 4-2. That were a sign of what we should be doing and how we should play, really. I do think I think we'll be much better at home than we were last season. I'll give us a win here. Honestly, I'll go 2-1. I don't think we'll slap them up like we did last time, but I still think we'll win against Bolton at home. Blackpool, Huddersfield. That's a toughie and all, you know. I fancy Blackpool in that, though. I might go 2-0 there. I give Huddersfield the win, the first one, and then I think I've given them a draw, maybe second, or a loss. I do think it's... Again, Lee Grant is a new manager, a brand new manager. He's not had any, like... Obviously, Urian is a new manager as well with Barnsley, but he got the back end of last season. Huddersfield have got a lot of big hitters coming in. They've got a lot of big names coming into what is this division, really, or this team. They've got a lot of big players. Some of the best players that you could have in this league. Huddersfield have got a lot of them. Managing all that at once, a lot of time it could just do it itself. But I think these players are going to take time to get used to each other and the tactical side of things that Lee Grant wants to implement. And I do think someone like Steve Bruce, who's been about forever, could just get around them quite easy early doors. So I'll go 2-0 there. Bradford at home to Luton. That'll be quite a good game as well. But I'll give Luton a win there. Burton at home to Port Vale. Like I've said before, I like Darren Moore as a manager. I think Port Vale have got a decent squad. They've got some money behind them by all accounts. But Burton are an half-decent side, mate. They actually are. And at home, I think Burton away is a side. Don't get me wrong, every time I've been to Burton, we've won. and I've been a few times. But every time I go, it's always quite nervy. They are hard to break down at home. And do I think Port Vale have got that in them? Probably. But I also think that Burton will win 2-1, and that's that. Cardiff at home to Rotherham. Now, like I've said, I think Cardiff could maybe struggle. They're not a given to just get into top 3, but I think they could slap Rotherham up. I'll go 3-0. Donny at home to Wickham. I think they'll lose just based on the quality that Wickham have got in certain positions, like 1-0. Exeter at home to Mansfield, 2-1 maybe. Leyton Orient at home to Stockport, a playoff game from last year. It was 2 apiece in that fixture at Leyton Orient, I believe. But Stockport again, even though Leyton Orient were one that went through, Stockport, they made a lot of chances, just couldn't finish the dinner. Obviously, with Laffey potentially leaving, they'll have to replace that as well, what that player is. But maybe they'll get someone that's a better finisher than him, which I genuinely don't think is that hard. I think Laffey is, honestly, probably the worst side of him is his finishing. He can be quite rash. Everything else is a fantastic footballer. I will go 2 apiece. I'll just get a rematch what playoff game were. Lincoln at home to Plymouth. It's one of them grounds and one of them games, Lincoln away, that is tough. It genuinely is. And even if you get promoted, a lot of sides that do will come here and drop points. And I think Plymouth could be one of them. I'll go 1 apiece. Reading at home to Wimbledon. That should be quite a comfy one, I'd think. Reading. Defensively, Reading are going to be very good. They were really good this year as well, in fairness. And they've got to replace both the centre-halves. Now that one's gone to QPR and obviously Binden's gone to Forest, even though we were on loan here last time. They brought Powdy O'Connor in, which is fantastic. I don't know who the other one is that's going to be playing there so far, but defensively they're going to be good. Stevenage at home to Northampton, another low scorer. I could see a 0-0 there, in fairness. And then Wigan at home to Peterborough. 2 very contrasting play styles in it. Maybe Nathan Lowe's going to try and offer a little bit more going forward for Wigan this year, because last year they were so dross going forward, so dull. Defensively very good, but horrendous going forward. They're obviously bringing in like 3 or 4 strikers, but a lot of them are fairly mediocre. I like that Costello that were on loan at Northampton, but a lot of them are fairly mediocre. I will go 1-2. I'll give Peterborough a win there. Calculate. Next, Wimbledon at home to Cardiff. I'll give Cardiff a win there. Just Bolton at home to Reading. Again, that is either going to be 2-1 to Bolton or a very, very edgy draw. I'll go 2-1 Bolton on that. Huddersfield at home to Donny. See, Donny are a good side, but I do feel like against someone like Huddersfield, whose quality is just considerably better. And I know I said the thing about Lee Grant and going up against managers that have been about forever, which Grant McCann has, but when you're going away to Huddersfield, it's different to playing them at home. Plus Donny have got minimal players of this anywhere near the same standard as what Huddersfield have got. I think Huddersfield could seriously put them to sword a bit, and I'll go like 4-1, something ridiculous there. Same with Luton at home to Wigan, to be fair. I think they could seriously put some past them. I'll go 3-0 there to Luton. Mansfield at home to Blackpool, that's going to be a low scorer, you'd think, just on surface of it, which is absolutely baseless, by the way, because there were quite a few goals with Mansfield last season, and Blackpool defensively can be good, very like hot and cold, but with Niall Ennis on a perm, like, you're going to score goals, aren't you, really? I'll go 1-1 though. Again, I feel like we can Mansfield a lot of draws. I can't remember already, so when I get to it and I see the table at end, I'm excited to see where teams are. Northampton at home to Lincoln, 1-0. I've said it before, I think Lincoln could struggle. Peterborough at home to Barnsley. Obviously we went there last season and won fairly comfortably. We should have put like 6 or 7 past them. They were so crap defensively. I don't think much is going to change in defensive department for Peterborough, in fairness, but they'll definitely score against us because basically everyone does. So I'll give them 1, but I honestly think we're just too good going forward. I'll give us 3 again. Plymouth at home to Leyton Orient. That should be a fairly comfy win for him. I'll go 2-0 there. Port Vale Stevenage. Port Vale at their place are going to be tricky, you know. But Stevenage are very good defensively. We've said that a million times. But Port Vale at their place are a fairly tricky side. I could see them winning that 2-1. Rotherham at home to Burton. They should win that. But again, I think it'll be quite close, 2-1. Same as Stockport and Bradford. That ain't just a walking part because Bradford are a newly promoted side and Stockport are a playoff loser. I do think Stockport are favourites, but not as heavy. I won't like bet on that game, for example. I'll probably give that. I'll win 1-1. Stockport, Bradford. And then Wickham at home to Exeter. You'd think that Wickham, despite losing a lot of the best players, Exeter are fairly poo. But Mike Dodds is crap. You've always got to keep that in mind with Wickham. Mike Dodds is a crap gaffer. I'll go 2-1. Calculate, and then into game week 5 before we look at the table. Wimbledon at home to Barnsley. You know, there's only 3 away games that I've not done in this entire league now. Only 3. Cardiff, what I'm going to do, which is in January. Exeter, which is away in December. I think it's 20th of December. Classic. And Wimbledon, the only day that I could not do. Literally the only one because I'm in Malta with the lads. Can't do it. EFL. Can't have anything, can I? Decent owner, decent ref, for God's sake, decent fixture list. No, no, no. And this is going to sound ridiculous, but I think we'll win. I'm not daft enough to think that we're going to finish top 2 this season. And that's coming from me, the most delusional person you've ever heard in your life. Ever. Comfortably. But these fixtures fairly early. I know we've got like Bolton at home, which is hard, and Plymouth away is very tough. I'm not saying Wimbledon away is going to be a walking park, but I still think we should win. Going forward, we are very, very, very good. And that's without bringing in any... We've not even had any serious wingers at club, really. Humphries is gone, Jallo's injured, and I still think we should score goals fairly comfortably. And just put Cotter on right wing. We're Cotter on right wing against Reading and have scored 4 goals. Mate, hurry handball, baby. Oh my God. Wimbledon 0, Barnsley 1. Bolton at home to Lincoln. 2-0 to Bolton. Huddersfield at home to Stevenage. I've said before many times, Stevenage good defensively. I think I've said that probably 3 times in this video. But Huddersfield should still probably win. I think that'll be closer than normal, but I'll go 2-1. Luton Cardiff. Big game, early doers. Big old game. But Luton at home. I've said Luton are in a better position than Cardiff, which they definitely are. Even if Luton lose a lot of the players, I still think the squad's miles better than Cardiff's. Plus, Luton will then have 10-15 million quid to just go and take piss. Luton might have a slow start, but again, similar to Barnsley, but on a much heightened scale. I think Luton could get considerably better as they go on. Even if they're in like 3rd or something, 3rd or 4th, if they're in top 6 in like, I don't know, March-ish, I still think they could go on to win league. I'll go 2-1 again. I think Luton would beat Cardiff early doers. Mansfield, Leyton Orient. Oh, God. Go Mansfield. I don't know what to think of Mansfield. 1-1. Northampton, Exeter. I struggle with Exeter, you know. The performances were shit. I know they're getting wins near end, which is the only thing that matters at the end of the day. But performances like that will catch up with you. I will go with, and to be fair, same with Northampton in fairness, I will go with another 1-1. Peterborough, Bradford. That's got some goals in it if I've ever seen. Jesus Christ. That has got some goals in it. I will go 3-2 to Peterborough. Plymouth, Blackpool, 2-1. I don't see Plymouth losing or even dropping many points at home, you know. Teams in this league, and I know we're talking about professional football clubs here, and they will go down day early. Like, Blackpool are going to go down to Plymouth on Friday, for example. And maybe Blackpool are a poor example to use of this. But teams aren't going to go and stop in, like, fantastic accommodation with League One, bottom-end League One budgets and 4,000 people in a week. You get the point that I'm making. Plymouth are not a team that people want to go to. Seriously. And I'm glad that we're going to go and lose to them and get it out at way at first game. But I do think they will win home to Blackpool. Just obviously partner that with the fact that they're going to have a lot of money and a half-decent squad anyway, regardless of losing some players. Port Vale done it. I can't remember what the result were in League, actually, in League 2 last season with that. I feel like Donny maybe went there and won. But I honestly, I can't remember off the top of my head. I think both of these will look at it as like quite a relegation 6-pointer, which, I think a lot of people would think. I completely disagree. Honestly, I think these will both be more than fine. And I'll go 2 apiece for it. Rotherham at home to Wigan. I will go 2-1. Stockport home to Burton. I know I've said I think Burton are an half-decent side, which they are. But I'm not getting them free. I still think Stockport home. Stockport are very hard to break down. Similar to Burton at their place, but Stockport are more compact, if anything. Stockport are very hard side to break down at their place. And then Wigan Reading, last game to see it up. If I look at the table, ooh, another toughie. I will go with Wycombe 1, Reading 2, and press the calculate button. Now, I'm going to zoom out, and then we'll see the table. Right, I've zoomed out and pushed myself all the way to the top. So I'm going to scroll down and then see the top 2 and then work it out like that. I hope I'm not too zoomed out, because if I am, I'll have to zoom in. Right, let's have a look. Top of the league, after 5 games in League 1, with Swansea at the top of the Championship, I've got Luton. Right, not really that surprising. I've given them 4 wins and a draw. I do think Luton are going to come down. Maybe they will start quite slow. Like, I've gone complete opposite way. I think they could just get a lot of points. That's just where I'm at. I think Luton could get a lot of points in this division. But maybe they buy a lot of the players towards back end of transfer window. You know, when you've played like 2 games or whatever it is, 2-3 games, and then you start bringing your players in end of August. Maybe they'll spend some money back end then and really strengthen the squad. But Luton don't really look like they've got hardest fixtures ever, and I think they could start really fast. So I've got Luton top of league. Second, I feel like I know this is, and I didn't even plan for it to go like this. I've got Barnsley in second with 4 wins and a loss. We're going to lose to Plymouth first game. I genuinely do think that. But I don't think we've got the hardest fixtures ever, really. Like, Bolton at home is a fairly tough one. But Peterborough away shouldn't be difficult. Burton at home shouldn't really be difficult. Wimbledon away shouldn't really be difficult. I do think we should win all 4. And again, I don't think we'll be top 2 at all. I still think we'll get playoffs, but I don't think we'll go up. Like, on surface of it, looking at it this season so far. But every time I've said something about Barnes, I've got it wrong. So who knows? That's what it looked like last time we both got promoted out of this league together. So Who knows, baby? Right, let's have a look at the rest of the top 6. We've got Cardiff. I've got Cardiff that many. It's so early. We've got Cardiff, Huddersfield, Plymouth and Bolton. It is just the bigger sides taking up the top spots early doors, isn't it? Bolton, I'm assuming I give Bolton every home win and maybe the 2 losses away. So Luton are the only side to have not lost a game in first 5. Cardiff, I've got 3 wins, a draw and a loss. Huddersfield, same. Plymouth, same. Okay. I could sort of see this being what it shapes up. And then we'll scroll down and look at the top 12. So Wickham and Stockport just outside with Reading, Northampton, Port Vale and Peterborough. Northampton 2-1. Fairly good start for them. But they've got some favourable fixtures, that's for sure. Port Vale quite high early doors. And Peterborough, I didn't think I'd get them a lot of points, really. But I like doing it like this because then you can't be biased. Like, I've not looked at table and said, well, Peterborough, I'm putting them last because I think they're going to be crap for the first 5 games. You know what I mean? Whereas when you actually look at it and put your results in, you get a different outcome to what you might think. So let's have a look down until we get to the relegation spots. We'll keep it at 20. Donny same points as Peterborough. Blackpool mid-table with Burton and Rotherham. And then Exeter, Stevenage, Leyton Orient and Bradford on slightly lower points, but still out bottom 4. Which is Lincoln, Wigan, Mansfield and Wimbledon. Get out of the way. Wimbledon don't surprise me that much from my own thoughts. Mansfield I struggle to get a gauge on. Wigan I've got 4 losses. I didn't think I'd get them that many, to be fair, but I do think they are just like fairly poor across pitch. I'm going to be completely real. I think they were good defensively, and the strikers they're bringing in I'm fairly underwhelmed with. So I don't know. Like, do you know what I mean? I do think they'll obviously stay up. I'm not saying they're going to go down. But the first 5 fairly difficult fixtures off memory. I think they could struggle with poor start. And then Lincoln in bottom 4 as well. Again, not really surprising. Lost a lot of the best players or will lose more of the best players as well. So not the most surprising thing ever with fairly difficult start as well. But that's what the table looks like for the first 5 League One games. Luton, top of the league, and the bottom 4 of Lincoln, Wigan, Mansfield, and Wimbledon. That's that. Boys, absolute pleasure. Kiss, love you as always. Make sure you like and subscribe if you do enjoy it. It does help me out a lot. After today, I'm on holiday from Tuesday to Tuesday, so I will see you for lives next Thursday. So it's going to be a while, baby, but there's going to be videos in between that, obviously. I love you all. Kiss, goodbye, see you in a bit.
I say I'm a man, yes, I'm a mucker. I think of me saying as a right good looker. I say up that. Show us bit it.